Hey everybody, welcome to Cross the Ditch NC. My name is Laura and I'm so glad you're here today. Today I'm going to be working to prepare the soil in my garden for planting our seedlings that we have started underneath the grow light, and also for direct sowing seed. And this will be for our fall garden. Hello friend, how are you? Hey there. Alright, so why do we want to amend our soil? When you garden season after season, you are taking nutrients out of your soil, growing your plants. And you need to put nutrients back in your soil so your next round of plants in your garden has plenty of nutrients to grow big and strong and to produce a lot of food for you and your family. So we want to put those nutrients back in our soil by amending the soil after each season. Amending your soil, think about it like eating healthy. You eat to put vitamins that your body needs inside to help you keep going each and every day. And when you don't get enough vitamins out of your meal, you can take a vitamin supplement and it'll provide your body with the vitamins and minerals that it needs to keep going strong each and every day. And when you amend your soil, you're pretty much doing the same thing. Like I said, you want to amend your soil after each garden season. If you only garden the spring and the summer, you can amend your soil in the fall and just let it sit there and break down really good over the course of the winter time, so it'll be ready for your spring plantings. However, if you garden each season like I am, then you want to amend your soil after the summer season is done and before planting the fall seeds and the fall seedlings. Before you amend your soil, it's highly recommended to get a soil test. Your local ag extension office may be able to help with this. It may be free or it may be at a low cost, so you want to check with them. But it is highly recommended to get a soil test done to see what type of nutrient deficiencies your soil has, so you know exactly what you want to put back into your soil. Alright, so the products that you choose to amend your soil with is truly a personal choice. Some people try to do things completely organic. Some people do it as organic as possible, which is the route that I go. I try to do things as organic as possible, but there are some things that are not, completely organic in my garden. And then other people choose not to go the organic route, and that's perfectly fine. It is a personal choice in your family, so you do what you feel is right for you and your family. There are different products that you can add to your soil to amend it each season and add those nutrients back in. You can add, depending upon your soil needs, you could add like a 10-10-10 fertilizer or have it balanced out however, or whatever is needed for your soil. You can also add different organic compounds into your soil to do the amendment as well. So here I have some blood meal. You can show that. I picked this up at my local Tractor Supply store, and I think this bag was like $6 or $7. I can't remember. It wasn't terribly expensive, but it seems like a small bag, but you really only use a little bit of this in your garden, and you can use this in your garden. You can put this on potted plants, but blood meal is really good for adding nitrogen back into your soil, so that is definitely an option. You can also pick up some bone meal. Bone meal is really good for adding phosphorus back into your soil, and as the names imply of what is included in this product, blood and bone, these are two organic options, and they also have inorganic versions of this as well, but these are two options as far as adding specific nutrients back into your soil. You can also use worm castings. Some people have like little worm bins in their yard, and they'll put like food scraps in it, and the earthworms and stuff will break down the food scraps and then poop them out. We all know that worm poop is fantastic for the garden. So they collect that out of the worm bin and spread it in their garden. So there's another option to add nutrients back into your garden as well. Some of the other things that you can do to add nutrients back into your garden is to use compost. Compost, you know, is broken down green and brown matter, and is a source of lots of vitamins and minerals for your garden. Anytime you're amending your soil, it is highly recommended to add at least a 1-inch layer of compost into it to get some nutrient rich soil back into it. Some people make their own compost. We actually have a compost bin at our house, and you know, we throw kitchen scraps in there, leaves. Some people throw the plants from their garden as they pull them into their compost bin. I've chosen not to, just in case that those plants may have some sort of disease into it. I don't want to throw that into the compost bin and then you know, run the risk of spreading that disease into my garden elsewhere. But you can make your own compost. You can buy compost. You can buy compost in the bag from your local farm supply store or big box store. You can also order it online. You can also, there are places that you can go to load compost into like a truck or a trailer, by like the front loader bucket scoop full. And then you can also have compost dumped at your house by the truckload. So there's different options depending upon what your needs are. Is you know, figuring out what your needs are and how much money you want to spend. And if you need a lot of compost, doing it by the truck or trailer load is your cheapest option there, because buying bagged compost gets really expensive really fast. You can also add soil back to your garden. Use a nutrient rich soil, like a bagged soil. You can add that into your garden. Once again, that can get expensive as well. So if you can get some good soil in bulk, do that, but you still want to mix in some of the extra nutrients, adding a layer of compost on top of that. You can also use manure in your garden, depending upon what your needs are. Rabbit, chicken, horse, cow. You don't want to add those directly into the garden like as soon as it's pooped out, because it's still hot and it can cause damage to your plants. But that is something that you can consider adding to compost and letting it break down over time, and it'll add some good nutrients back into the soil as well. All right, so how do you amend your soil in your garden? Once you get your soil test done, figure out what you need, decide on the products that you want to use to put those vitamins and minerals back into your soil, then it's pretty simple. Just make sure your garden beds are cleaned out, all the weeds are pulled, all the spent plants are pulled out, any leaves or stems that are left behind that have fallen off, kind of gently rake that out of your soil. And then you just want to sprinkle whatever products you're using. So if I'm using my blood meal or bone meal, I'm just going to sprinkle a light little layer on top, and then throw some just an inch or so layer of compost on top, and just give it a gentle rake into my soil. I don't want it to disturb my soil too much, so I'm just going to use my pitchfork right here behind me to just give a gentle rake to incorporate those products with each other and rake it into my soil. And then I'm going to give it a good water to kind of settle it down, and then plant my plants. And it's that simple. So once you add the fertilizers, the compost, whatever products you're using into your garden, you give it that light rake and you plant your plants. You want to top dress it with some mulch. I highly recommend using mulch to top dress your garden, so it will help retain moisture into the garden beds, especially when planting the fall garden right now. Things tend to dry out pretty quickly, because like right now it's about 98 degrees outside and our heat index is 110, so it is scorching right now. And if I put these little tender seedlings out right now they'll dry out so quickly, even if I do work really hard to water my garden. Anytime that you plant plants in the garden, you want to add just a little layer of mulch to help retain that moisture in the soil, as well as it helps to shade out plants and reduces the weed pressure in your garden. And the great thing about using mulch in your garden is it breaks down over time and incorporates itself into that compost. There are different options for mulch in the garden. You can use wood shavings, wood clippings, you can use grass clippings, you can use straw. It's not recommended to use hay because it has the seed part in it, and then you'll have the hay growing in your garden, and you don't want that. So use straw, use wood chips, wood clippings, or even grass clippings in your yard. If you are using like grass clippings, or if you're using the straw, you want to make sure that it hasn't excuse me, that it hasn't been sprayed with any type of herbicides or pesticides if you're trying to keep your garden organic. So there are organic options out there as well. But once again, that is personal preference on how you want to garden. But you definitely don't want to purchase anything that's been sprayed with an herbicide, because that can potentially affect your garden and its production. If you do choose to use wood chips, you can buy them, wood chip mulch, you can buy it bagged from local stores. Just don't buy the ones that have been dyed, like they've been dyed brown, black, red. You want to get the natural wood chips, just the tree's been chipped up and put into a bag. Mulch is also something that you can buy in bulk as well if you're going to the wood chip route. You may even be able to contact like a local landscaper or something, and when they're landscaping, or maybe a company who cuts or trims trees for people, you may be able to contact them and ask them what they do with their wood chips when they get done, and they may be willing to sell it to you for a discounted price, or may even let you have it for free, just so it gets off of their hands and they don't have to pay a disposal fee on them. So definitely some resources locally that you can reach out to try to get those products. But you definitely want to add a layer of mulch to your garden once you get your seeds and your seedlings into the ground, so it'll help retain that moisture, and it'll help shade out weeds so that they won't grow into your garden as well. So I mentioned a while ago where to get the compost materials, or get the different types of products that you may want to add into your soil, the different types of fertilizers that you can put into your soil to bring back some of those nutrients. You can shop local. There's nurseries that sell it. Your local farm supply store may sell it. Big box stores sell it. There's also seed and greenhouse and garden companies online that sell it. Then you also have some places that will sell it in bulk to you, whether you go pick it up in the truck or the trailer, or they can deliver it to your house and dump it in your yard somewhere for you to use if you need a lot of it. So those are your options. If you buy it bagged, it can get expensive if you're using a lot of it. So like I said a while ago, see what your needs are. There are actually compost calculators online that you total in like the square footage of your garden space, and then it tells you about how many cubic yards of compost you'll need. So I recommend doing that before you go buy some in bulk. That way you don't overbuy, and also you don't underbuy. And you can also see about how much it would cost you as well, so you can plan for that. All right, so in this garden bed, I have my fertilizer spread out into it, and then I have added a layer of compost to it, and now I'm going to start planting my seedlings. So there you go. I have my broccoli planted. These are seeds that I started myself, but I have my broccoli planted in the bed that I amended the soil in. Gave it a light rake to incorporate it all. I've given it a light little water. Planted my broccoli. I have put this insect protection tunnel over top of it to keep the bugs. There's a lot of bugs right now around here, a lot of insects that want to eat these tender green leaves. So hopefully this will keep them out. I will let you know how it works. It provides a little bit of shade and protection from the intense sun and heat that we're having right now, but it also allows water to come through, so when it rains or when I'm watering the garden, the water can come through and get the moisture to the plants. But yep, there you go. So as you can tell by the multiple outfit changes, this video took a couple of days to film. Also, that's my dog peeking through the window trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing. I do work full-time. I also have a part-time job as well. So when I get home from work each day, I work a little bit in the garden and I spend time in my garden on the weekends. That is one of my goals of this channel, is to show you that you don't have to be like a stay-at-home full-time gardener. That is completely possible to grow food for your family. Sorry. He's like, why mom are you outside? It is completely possible to grow food for your family on a part-time basis. You just need to spend a little bit of time outside each day when you get home from work. And you know, there are some days that I don't go outside, and that's perfectly fine as well. I do hope with this video that you learned a little bit about adding nutrients back into your soil. That way, when you plan, or when you're planting seeds and seedlings for the next season, that you will have a nutrient dense soil, and that you will have an incredibly productive garden because of that. Our soil is just like the human body. You can't keep pulling energy and nutrients out of it without replacing it. So think of your soil as you're feeding your body. We need to feed nutrients back into it as well. If you have any questions about amending your soil, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below, or shoot me an email. Or if you have my phone number, which I ask that you don't share it online, but you know, just shoot me a message and let me know your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. I really hope this has inspired you to plant a fall garden, because so many people just really think about a spring and summer garden, but they don't think about gardening into the fall and winter. And where I live in zone 8A, we have what I call mild winters. We do have a lot of days that are below freezing, but for the most part, our winters are mild enough that we can continue to grow throughout most of the winter season. I hope you will join me in my next video, because we will be planting the seedlings and seeds in our fall garden where we have amended the soil, and that way you can see what we will be planting and growing at that time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic and blessed day. And if you like what you saw today, please hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell for notifications, so you'll get an alert next time I post a video. Thank you once again for joining me today, and I hope you come back for the next video.